The Florida Gators have the number 3 ranked class in the country, and you can say what you want about the Gators on the field this season, but on the recruiting trail, they are a force. And news just broke moments ago on GatorsOnline that Jeremiah Smith will be in Gainesville this weekend. Yes, the Ohio State commitment. He's the number 1 ranked wide receiver in America, and he's going to be in Gainesville. So in this video, we're going to talk big name visitors on campus this weekend, including an Alabama flip target. We'll also check in on a few Gator commitments that have been taken to visits to other schools. Are they on flip watch? We're going to talk all about it. But first, UF fans, hit the subscribe button to the On3 Recruits channel. We're about 2 months in, and this thing's over 20K. We want you to be a part of it. Please subscribe. Okay. Let's bring on my guy, Corey Bender from GatorsOnline. Just moments ago, you guys had it. 5-star plus wide receiver Jeremiah Smith back in Gainesville. Now, Corey, I've been reading the internet, and insiders from other programs are kind of counting out the Gators, but Jeremiah Smith shows back up on campus. Well, he's planned to this weekend. What are you hearing in terms of where things stand between him and the Gators?
Yeah, I still think Florida has some room to make up. Obviously, I think any school you could say has a ton of room to make up. I think it's going to be very difficult to change his mind ultimately. But yeah, I think he's playing in St. Petersburg, Josh. So it's not too far from Tampa, about 2-hour drive up to Gainesville. So he's playing this game on Friday, and then after that, him and his family are going up to Gainesville for that noon kickoff. So I think overall, I think Florida State might be ahead of Florida right now as far as the schools pushing to flip him from Ohio State. But ultimately, when it's all said and done, I mean, I think it's going to be a shock. It would be a shocker if he wants to change his mind at some point.
How important is it for the Gators to have a big offensive day on Saturday in front of a guy like Jeremiah Smith?
Absolutely. No, it's huge, man. And I think obviously with Graham Mercy cylinders, you have guys like Eugene Wilson, who's a 5-star, just like Jeremiah Smith is. So I think overall, if you're Jeremiah Smith, you're seeing that they're obviously getting young guys involved. They're passing the ball. I know overall Graham Mertz, I mean, he's spreading the ball out more than probably a lot of the SEC quarterbacks. So I think it's very important, but I think it's more than that. I think it's, obviously DJ Lagway is a huge factor. I mean, that relationship, knowing the future of the program. So I know that's something he's excited about, but also with the staff too. I think just the opportunity to play in the SEC and kind of guy in Florida's offense, if he was to go there, those are big appeals as well.
All right. Now, another big name that'll be on campus this weekend is cornerback Jameer Grimsley. He's committed to Alabama and has been now for some time. And these rumors aren't new of him in Florida and a potential flip. But this weekend, he's on campus. And as the season wears on, we're kind of getting into flip season. So is this one that you have on flip watch this weekend, or is there still ground to make up?
Yeah, Josh, I would say I wouldn't put on flip watch yet. There's a little bit of ground to make up, but if he was to change his mind, I think Florida would definitely be that choice. We went to his school on Tuesday, and you could tell that commitment's solid. I know he likes to, where Alabama season's going. He kind of looks at a lot of the younger guys. Mentioned Terrion Arnold, another Florida native who was shining in the secondary. But when it comes to Florida, it's that relationship with Corey Raymond. It's it's his lifelong favorite school. People in his family still love Florida. They still cheer for them every Saturday. So there's a lot to like about Florida. When you speak to Grimsley, he says all the right things. But I know from speaking to sources, on both sides, there is still some optimism for Florida and everything. If this weekend, if it goes well, this is going to determine if he returns for an official on the weekend, December 8th. So it's definitely a massive weekend in terms of, Florida can flip them down the line.
Yeah, big Alabama-Florida battle there. Now let's talk about corner Zay Mincy. He's from Daytona Beach, Maryland. And, of course, the Gators did a phenomenal job recruiting his teammate, LJ McCray, who they landed over Miami, over Georgia, over Florida State. It was a huge win for the 5-star defensive lineman. Now his teammate, Zay Mincy, who's fresh off a visit to Alabama, is expected to be in Gainesville this weekend. Corey, can we say that the Gators are the favorite to land him because of the job that they did with LJ McCray?
Yeah, I would say I've been trending towards Florida even before that. Since March, I think I put in a prediction. I was pretty out in front of that one as far as where I think Florida stands. But having LJ definitely helps a lot. But the one thing I haven't heard between them is if they're going to be a package deal. That's never been brought up. And I've always kind of hinted at this too. Florida, when they took their OVs to Florida, they came on different weekends. So I think it definitely helps Florida in that regard. And I kind of said whoever won out this weekend as far as getting him on campus, because it was 50-50. Florida secured this visit weekend about a month ago, but when he went to Tuscaloosa, they invited him back for this big LSU game on Saturday. So he was 50-50 as far as which game he was going to go to. But with now him expected in Gainesville, I think that kind of, in my eyes, puts them a little bit more in the driver's seat. You still have Miami in the background as well. But I think since that OV to Tuscaloosa, I've been hearing in Alabama, and I still give Florida that very slight edge at this point.
All right, Zay Mincy, just like Jameer Grimsley, another Alabama-Florida battle. Let's talk about offensive tackle Favor Edwin. Now, he's coming in on an official visit. The Gators, they don't like to do official visits in season, but they'll buck that trend for a big-time offensive tackle. They did it for Jordan Seaton. Now they're going to take in 3-star Favor Edwin on an official visit this weekend, and they need to because he is trending heavily to Auburn at 97% on the recruiting prediction machine. Corey, do you think that the Gators staff can kind of turn the tide of this recruitment this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think early on, I was close to putting a prediction for him over the summer. He was going to OV in June, but his commitment timeline, he wanted more towards December, and Florida wanted to bring him in later in the season too. So it kind of worked out for both parties. But since then, Florida was kind of going back and forth on. But, I spoke with a source this week in Gainesville that said, he's definitely a take for Florida. They love his upside. They think he has a high ceiling down the road. So I think, and like you said, Josh, they don't like hosting unofficial visitors. Obviously, with Jordan Seaton, they kind of put that aside. They said whenever he wants to visit, we'll do it. But it shows you right now with Favor Edwin. It's a guy they've been familiar with for a while. And, even the FSU game at the end of the year, I heard they might have some OVs that weekend too. So, but I think overall, Auburn, you have to definitely feel very good about where they stand. But Florida, he's more familiar with Florida over the past year than Auburn. So I think if everything goes well this weekend, I can see Florida pulling even or even, surpassing Auburn at some point.
All right. Well, there's a much bigger visitor list up on GatorsOnline. You guys can go there and check it out. How's the start of college football season been for you guys? I know the games have been great, but you know what's not great? Finding last-minute tickets. Finding tickets before a game can sometimes be a nightmare, and do not let this be the way that your season goes. That's why I'm here to tell you about GameTime. It's the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the big-time matchups. GameTime will get you to this year's biggest college football games with elite deals on last-minute tickets and the best price guarantee. Do not stress over getting into your team's favorite game, the biggest rivalry game of the year. There's only so many games you can go to, and you need to get these tickets at the best prices. GameTime is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Guys are terrible at that. GameTime has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. GameTime, they have deals on tickets even after an hour after the game starts. It is the place to get last-minute ticket deals. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets on all sports and even concert events. So here's what we're going to do. Snag the tickets without stress with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code INSIDESCOOP for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use code INSIDESCOOP for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. So we'll see what happens. Now, as I said at the top, Florida is recruiting at a very high level, which is why other teams are pursuing some of their commitments. Now, let's take a look at who the Gators are trying to hang on to down the stretch. Of course, Xavier Filsaime, he's one of the best safeties in the country. Now, Texas is involved there, but he's come out and recently said he's locked into the Gators. So until I see Xavier show up in Austin, I'm not really too concerned. I want to talk, though, about edge Jamonte Waller. He showed up on the plains at Auburn a couple times now, Corey. Is there concern that Waller is getting a little close with Auburn?
Yeah, there's some concern, Josh. I mean, I would probably put his commitment probably around like the 8% mark, 90. I know with Auburn, it's a little bit closer to home, and, he's been there. I know, obviously, that program's kind of on the rise in their first year, obviously, after a coaching change. There's a lot of excitement around the program. I still like Florida. I know when he visited Florida for a Tennessee game, the kid was nearly speechless and basically raved about. Of all the kids we spoke to after that Tennessee game, he might have had the most notable quote saying there's no better place than Gainesville in Florida. So I think the biggest thing for Florida is getting him back on campus for another unofficial to remind him that, hey, this is why you picked Florida in the first place. But until then, yeah, I think if you're a Florida fan, your Florida staff, you kind of have to be kind of stay on the edge of your seat a little bit and kind of recruit him like he's not in the class. And I kind of said that with Kelby Collins a cycle ago. Yeah, he's committed, but keep recruiting him like he isn't, and then hopefully he signs on the dotted line.
All right, another one that's been bouncing around the country taking visits is Nasir Johnson. This weekend, he'll be at Colorado. What's your take on Nasir? Of course, he's a talented, big body on the defensive side, and he's highly coveted. Can the Gators hang on to him?
Of all the kids in the class right now, I think Nazir is the one I'm monitoring the most. And it's funny, you talk to him. I talked to him about a week and a half ago. He's like, I'm 100% locked in. He says all the right things, but I know Georgia's been lurking. Florida State's been in the mix for a while, and now Colorado. It's funny. I know he liked Florida. Obviously, he's in the class, and he likes everything he's seen. He has a good relationship with the staff, but that door's kind of cracked open. He's kind of seeing what else is out there. I would put his commitment probably around 80 to 75% range. And I know a lot of fans will be like, man, that's really low, but right now, I mean, he's had opportunities to flip. He's taking visits, but he's still in the class, and he keeps coming back to Gainesville. So right now, I mean, he's definitely one of the ones to monitor, but until he flips, we'll have that conversation when it comes.
All right. Now, defensive lineman Amaris Williams, he showed up in Columbus visiting Ohio State recently. Are the Buckeyes the biggest concern when it comes to Amaris Williams?
Yeah, Josh, I definitely would say the Buckeyes. Yeah, he had an outstanding visit up there, and understandably so. He loved it. And Tennessee's been kind of knocking on the door for a while, too. And you watch his film. I mean, this kid's elite. You watch, he's very versatile. So I wasn't too surprised when Ohio State offered. I always thought he was kind of the kid that maybe could receive a little bit bump in the rankings. I always loved his film. But, yeah, Ohio State's really turning on the pressure. But the good thing for Florida is he's expected to come down to Gainesville this weekend for a noon kickoff, unofficial visit. And, you would think that would be no chance that would happen after a game up in North Carolina. But that's the plan. And if Florida can obviously come through and get him on campus and he shows up, that could kind of turn the momentum back their way. So I think you look at this list, you have a lot of notable guys, Jameer Grimsley, Zay Mincy, and those are the notable guys. But this is right up there as far as importance, as far as keeping a guy in the class. And we'll see where it goes. He's going to be one of the first guys we're kind of anxious to speak to after the game.
Yeah, very important to get Amaris back on campus. So this weekend, though, the Gators, they take that number 3 ranked recruiting class into the weekend against Arkansas. Big names on campus. Thanks again, Corey Bender, for stopping by the Inside Scoop and talking about it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that content, be sure to subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. We have a new page dedicated only to recruiting. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now.